Hello, this is Robert from DSP Plug. Well, this is an exciting time, isn't it? It's kind of like imagination figuring out where the future is going to go with digital signal processing. So, what are going to be the issues with electromagnetic pivots? Having electromagnetic pivots, as I call them, every square mile, it indeed is something utilizable. The problem is, it can practically be used for anything. If you're really good enough at math and physics and a whole lot of other stuff, you can make a giant sized robot which will crush a city. You really can with magnetic stuff. hmm It is possible. I'm a guy who works with DSP, I would know. Assuming, assuming that you could get the impulse power from it. It is possible. It is. It's scary. But obviously, the most forward-thinking way of releasing this to the public is to utilize encoding. So by intermittently switching the polarities so that the polarity offset chosen is an intermix ratio of the same encoded polarities required based upon dynamic math. Totally plausible. And what we're talking about here is putting, basically in a nutshell, turning two magnets inside out, pointing them towards one another, right? Because they push, they push. And when you're relying on three or four electromagnetic signals, which is more powerful, the impulse power from it is even greater. But the issue is, of course, the speed. I might you go with transistors, but transistors are quite hard to time. Supercapacitors, maybe maybe a supercapacitor. It all depends on whether or not a transistor could meet the latency. It could always be another device which is switching the polarity rather than a transistor itself. If it was already switched to the right polarity, then a miniature transistor might be the ideal candidate, other rather than a supercapacitor. But that's up in the air. Magnetivity is really not something that's so complicated, and yet it is. Because when you're switching polarities, that magnetism will only exist for a brief amount of a second. And that's the whole point. You're not trying to provide society with the ultimate turning wheel, because you can attach anything to a turning wheel, can't you? As long as it turns well fast and with enough torque, it can do anything. Like how we convert creeks and rivers into sawmills, and how we do this and that. It's the same thing, just with magnetivity. It comes down to the speed and capturing that small impulse. I don't think it would take a very sophisticated team to make an electromagnetic motor or automobile or maglev contraption that would work in this manner. But ultimately, that team would have to then, even after working with mathematicians and physicists and likely experts in electromagnetivity, they would likely have to turn the project over to harden mathematicians and be like a think tank. And then, of course, would be the the government or military improved um, polarity trick so as to mimic encoding. And that's all very doable, but of course, if you were thinking of doing this for yourself as a side gig, well, let me tell you, the math might seem simple at first, but beyond that, no, it's a physicist's game. In fact, assuming that a physicist is able to stabilize these puffs of impulse power based upon the pivots in the structure, it might actually be digital signal processing gurus who are able to get the most out of it. But likely they're going to be assisted by a physicist and a mathematician. This is Robert from DSP Blog. I hope you enjoy uh, imagining with me what's possible with digital signal processing in the next 100 years. It's a really great theory. I have been contemplating making videos with, fancy graphics and various examples. Just don't expect me to get dressed up or anything. You know, I'm not expecting to make a lot of cash off this or anything. Bye bye.